Yes, yes. Hey, everybody, we're live. Glad you could make it. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week and welcome back to another weekly call. So I hope your week has been going well. I did my best to let you guys know what was going down this week. This is a very important call tonight because we're going to meet an amazing human being who has become an extremely valuable part of our world here in Newbill of Health. So a lot of you out there that are seeing this live or that are going to see this on recording have likely adopted or been introduced to my favorite daily detox methodology. Okay. And that has been upgraded. That daily detox philosophy that we have here was with an older product line, and that product line was clean slate. And we have, and I'm just going to put it out there, we're not trying to hide anything at all. This is complete transparency, as I always do, right? We're here to serve our people. And when we find better aligned products that work with our philosophy and the way that we think things should work in human beings, and are better and superior, if as long as the culture of that company is cool, we're going to roll with them after evaluation. And so we've had plenty of time to evaluate Clean Slate for about 2 years. And we're moving away from this. It's something we'll likely dig into a little bit here today. But ultimately, there's some very significant differences between these two products. So this is the old Clean Slate bottle, and this is MasterPeace. And MasterPeace has push this up, the other product out of the forefront. And this is what we're staking our name and our claims on these days. And every client that I've put this bottle in the hands of thus far has had very great experience with it. And man, I'm just pleased with it personally. One of the things that I always do with products is validate them empty. And what I mean by empty is I typically fast for a period of time and then get into a place where I've had nothing or very light items in my food, like water, maybe juice, and that's it. And then I start evaluating products to see if I can pick up on subtleties, because I do champion myself as a pretty healthy guy. So I don't often get detox symptoms and things like that when I try new products, but I look for subtleties, and the subtle difference of MasterPeace that I personally experience is an uplift of frequency. And what I mean by that uplift in frequency is things are just better. And so when they are better, you got to go, okay, how did that shift? How did that change? I know how I feel when I fast. So when I put something new in my body, I don't discount what's happening. And so I experience a lot of happiness on this supplement, just a supportive nature that I did not quite have nailed down before. And I think that's extremely important that we pick up on these things. So when you try this and when you put this into your regimen for all the reasons we're about to cover, remember that subtlety, okay? Because this is what real medicine is supposed to feel like in the human body. There should be an uplift of your frequency, even though you might take an herbal or any kind of thing, and maybe it causes you to feel a little bad because you're detoxing. We're going to talk about that with this product, how that might be a little different on this ride versus others. So without further ado, I want to introduce the founder and CEO of Human Consciousness Support, and his amazing product line with MasterPeace. But before I do that, let me just give you a little bit more. So this is a company whose flagship product, MasterPeace, is a unique, never seen before formula combining exclusive charged structured nano zeolites and marine plasma. I'm going to repeat that one more time because some of you might write this down, and you're going to need this when you start doing your little research, because our people here at Newbill of Health, they love to research things from time to time. So again, this is a formula combining exclusive charged structured nano zeolites and marine plasma. Yes, and with that, just know the results will speak for themselves. They always do. Everybody's been 100% on this since we started sharing this with our customer base. So without further ado, I want to introduce I want to introduce amazing human being and friend, Matt Hazen. Matt, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you, brother.
Hi, Ken. How are you doing today? That was a wonderful, thank you. So yes, MasterPeace is very much worthy of all that. We are just open this month. We had a lot of work to do with refining what has become the most superior formula that's really ever been created. At least that's what the testimonials are pointing to so far. It's very funny today that we'll get into the discussion about Clean Slate. Clean Slate is an amazing product, and kudos to them for what they started 3 or 4 years ago. When we were seeking out to build a nano zeolite formula that would give some unprecedented cleaning of the toxins and replacement with nourishment and whatnot, we took the what appeared to be the superior products on the nano zeolite market, and one of those was obviously Clean Slate. We handed it over to the Kansas State University Nanotechnology Lab. They are very big. They tout themselves as the #1 nanotechnology lab in America. And the chief lab scientist and me began a friendship. He had been in work that he didn't know was going to be used for nefarious reasons. His whole career life work was in mRNA and stuff like that. And he was he was going through a lot, overseeing what was going on with the population. And so when we came to him and said, we have something here we want to pull off, we want to be able to pull out, take care of the trap forever chemicals in a way that's never before seen, and get into what's called nano emulsion, which is getting things into the deepest part of the body so that it can bind to the poisons. And he got on board with that mission. And he was really passionate about helping us create what now is MasterPeace. The first step that we did in that whole process, though, was have Clean Slate and the others completely reverse engineered with the most state-of-the-art equipment available to do that in. And we knew molecule for molecule what made up the Clean Slate formula in the other companies. And just like what you do from there, you see exactly what it is, and then you look about how you can improve upon it. And we finessed and perfected it countless times along the way. But every time that we were considering a change, while we were trying to make the goal, which was this most strongest effective product ever to help out mankind, that was the intention then, now, and will be. And what we found was that when you're starting with something and every time you go to make a change, you have it muscle tested or kinesiology tested and verified, along with sending off the analysis to get back the readings. We always asked, when we said, are we going to decide to do point A or point B with MasterPeace? We would say, what's best on behalf of the highest good for all of humanity? And whatever tested out higher is the decision that we made. Nothing else went into the decisions. Nothing to do about the normal stuff that you see a lot out there with people in their formulas and whatnot, where they have a capital, they want to monopolize it. It's not something, they lose track of what they're trying to do, which was create something great for mankind. And we didn't lose track of that. And so this is a formula that is giving unprecedented results that, if it's okay, before we start, Ken, I just need to do a medical disclaimer real quick, if that's all right, because I'm no type of doctor or anything like that, and never claim to be. And that's important for when you have a nutraceutical company to make that clear to people. The information provided is for educational purposes today and is not intended as medical advice or a substitute for medical advice of a physician or other qualified healthcare professional. You should not use this information for diagnosing a health or fitness problem or disease. You should always consult with a doctor or other healthcare professional for medical advice or information about diagnosis and treatment. Thank you.
Perfect.
So, yeah. And again, my family took Clean Slate for a long time. Great product in terms of the zeolite has a wonderful particle range to really get to a deeper part of the body than what was available before it. And people have experienced some great results. There's quite a bit more Herxheimer detox symptoms reactions with Clean Slate. That's not because it's more powerful. That has everything to do with the formula. What we use is the same quality, which is 97% clinoptilolite. I believe they try to say it's aluminum silica what they have, but that means it's sand. They don't put sand in there. They say that, everybody, because in Europe, you can't send zeolite out there. It's prohibited or forbidden. So they say it's sand so that they can ship product to Europe without having problems. They didn't start putting sand in their product. It is still 97% clinoptilolite. Why? Because a lab told me. So they use 97% clinoptilolite, and so do we. They're coming in at about 135 micrograms for 10 drops, which means they're starting with about 300 before they do the process, because you only get about half the yield. So that's the name of the game. If I put 1,000 micrograms per se, sorry, not grams, that'd be a lot. But if we put 1,000 micrograms in a dose, by the time it goes through the nanotechnology process, you only have about 500. So they used to say on their label 300 micrograms. When it was tested, it comes out to 135. That means they still were putting in about 300 to start off with. We have about 500 micrograms per 6 drops. Our particle range is where they have about 3/4 of their product is in between 0 to 150 nanometers. And then the rest gets way up there in size. We have about 95% of our product range is in between 1 and 300 nanometers. And what that means is when you take 6 drops of MasterPeace, you're getting a lot of clinoptilolite that is going to go to the deep, anywhere in the body that water goes. You are 99% water molecules. So what does that tell you? And the results, again, are speaking for themselves and what people are experiencing, I think.
Yeah, Matt, it's one of the, I want to talk to that point about Herxheimer, right?
Yeah.
Because some people may not understand what Herxheimer is. And that's just literally the response of the body going through a detox process that exudes certain symptoms.
Yeah.
Right. And when, and why, one of the leading factors of why we used, one of the things that we had to do with our recommendations for Clean Slate was I would often end up starting clients first on about a month's worth of saturating their cells with minerals first to help avoid some of these Herxheimer reactions.
Wow.
And one of the beautiful parts about, because I've seen people literally have major detox reactions from Clean Slate that seemed a little reckless off of one drop. Now that says a lot more about the individual, but one drop of Clean Slate I've had it put some people in like, I got to shut down for the day mode. And so I would literally have to put them on a diluted solution and then add a bunch of minerals to it in order to get it to balance out in the body appropriately without, basically derailing them from function in their life.
Right.
So that's the type of things that we're talking about when you're getting major headaches and you get major flu, cold symptoms. There's literally a whole laundry list of things that you could experience going through a detox of any kind. Then we just tend to call that Herxheimer reactions. But also to those listening, the decision-making process is beautiful that these guys went through, because that came down to doing what was right, not just what was profitable or what was just egotistical. And that's one of the things that those things come in all forms throughout the entire nutraceutical industry. It's some of the things that we do our best to avoid so that we can get the goods. But at some point in time, it does tend to make some companies go a bit awry in some ways. And so the way something starts with its intention is so important. So I love the way these guys started. They wanted to bring something better to the market, because before Clean Slate, there was other zeolites out there, right? There's other zeolite therapies out in the world. I was using them way before Clean Slate was around, which is why I was attracted to it, because of all that it claimed to do. And then I experimented with it. And just like Matt, I was on it for about 2 years. The whole family, me and my whole family were. And now our whole family has switched over to MasterPeace. and we're loving it even more. And it's such a much easier way to speed up the process of recovery for my clients to be able to put this in their hands more sooner than later, right?
Correct.
And also not be overly concerned that it's going to exacerbate many symptoms that they're already experiencing, but actually move them into a better balanced state sooner because of all the additional supporting elements that are in this formula. Matt, can you speak to the symphony of ingredients that you guys have aligned and how you have structured this amazing product, please?
That's an absolute perfect way to put it. So only about 1% of the entire solution is nanometer sized zeolite. So that's a lot more than the other companies. So there's a lot there. But when you're dealing with a formula, and especially when you're looking at what they call mineral gapping or avoiding mineral gapping, which is, the zeolite is the master binder, the best binder to toxins that we know of. And so it goes in, all this bad stuff gets stuck to it. And because it's indigestible, it leaves the body. But in place now, you need to replace that with hopefully healthy minerals. So there's two parts of these formulas that you're going to see in nano zeolite companies. You have the zeolite aspect, and then you have the minerals that are in there. So some companies don't have any minerals, which then the zeolite doesn't work that good because the cells and different things doesn't want to give up what's already there. It's kind of like a bad stepdad. It doesn't really do a lot of good, but he's still there, and it's take there. Now, when you come in with a better replacement, what we use is the best source of marine plasma that we could find on Earth. We looked at things like Quinton water, which was very good and stuff. What we found was where it is harvested in the ocean underneath a vortex above plankton. And so you're dealing with cold filtered plankton dense marine plasma with, when you look at the molecular composition, what makes up 99% of the MasterPeace formula. 99% of what you're putting in your mouth is the healthiest, perfect ratioed 96 mineral marine plasma that we structure. And the zeolite and the whole formula is charged in a way where it increases the negative charge so that it even binds better. And that's a really, really big deal. And that is why people are, because there's the mineral gapping is reduced so much, people that have never taken a heavy metal detox that should never take 6 drops of this stuff normally would have the worst headache, be overtaken. I'm not saying we've never had someone have that, but it's someone that's very unhealthy that's chugging it. It's very hard to get any type of detox. It's very rare. It's 2 out of 300 people. It's very rare, less than 1%. That's what we've seen so far. But you're looking at the perfect blueprint, perfect hologram for a human body. The healthiest a human body could be is 99% of the formula. And so the zeolite does that, and then it swoops in and replaces it, and it upgrades you. That's why you feel better than you've ever felt. That's why you sleep better for no reason. That's why you dream more, because it's cleaning off your third eye. You wake up feeling like $1 million for no reason at all. When people saying, I just feel better. I have more motivation because I just feel better. They're in a better mood because they feel better. In our world, if you ask someone how their day goes, it's usually based on how they feel,
Yes.
I'm so angry, or man, I'm so grateful. All that is feelings and how you feel. And you know what? When you feel better, you live better. You affect the people that are close to you more. You improve or you hurt the world and the environment around you. MasterPeace was made to raise the consciousness of the human being. Why? Because when you remove the heavy metals and the mycotoxins and the PFAs and the BPAs and the stuff that's trapped forever chemicals, and you replace it with the healthiest thing you've ever put in your body, which is structured marine plasma, you just improved yourself. Your consciousness goes up. It's measurable. It's very measurable. It's irrefutable.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Those are all very good, beautiful relations to a product, right? How can we relate to it, to understand it? Because some of you may not understand muscle testing, right? You may not have done that before. I do it all the time. So I've muscle tested very well with this, right? It was just a very quick one and very straightforward. The vibration coming off of this product is really, really high. So we experienced that. But I wanted to talk to that point about heavy metal chelation because I'm a mineral balancing expert. So we do this every day, right? Um, why do we have this binder? Why do we put a binder in your body? We want to put this binder in the body so as we strengthen your cellular disposition through mineral balancing and nutritional factoring and other lifestyle motives and therapies, we've got to ensure that we're not causing the body to work harder, right? We have to ensure that because that's going to raise the stress level in your body. And so our job is to try to keep your body cool while it's going through hard work. So imagine yourself kind of like working out in a gym outside in 150 degrees, 130-degree weather, right? That's not what we want. Your body's been doing that for so long. We're trying to get it to cool off. So igniting any more fire is not what we really want to do in the body when we're trying to recover and heal. But the most important factor about chelation is cell strengthening and also recognizing that we're not going to strip away things without replacement parts. And what I mean by that, and this is why people have the hardest time with old school chelation therapies. There's still like 10 or so groups on Facebook doing these archaic chelation therapies that no one can make it through because it's extremely difficult, number one. Two, they're only getting surface level metals out of the body. They're not getting deep. And three, over half of the people never make it through it. They quit, right? And so then they're left in an awry. What I mean by that is one the things that really run the function of the body are enzymes, right? And so enzymes have a heavy relationship with minerals. And when those minerals aren't properly balanced in the body, they are often mimicked by heavy metals. So the body's genius. So the body will go, hey, I'm not getting enough magnesium or boron or whatever, and it'll start looking at the periodic table junkyard in the body from the heavy metal section and go, I can use you instead because you're close enough, right? And so this little bastardization process starts to happen with junkyard parts. And so we start building up these amazing enzymes, these systematic and metabolic enzymes in the body that run your body, run function in your body. Uh, and so just so you can stand up, and your body's been doing that your entire life, okay? Then some guy comes in and goes, hey, take this. We're going to do a few things. You got to time this stuff perfect or whatever. It gets really complicated with some chelation therapies. And you literally start ripping out these metals, not understanding that they're directly correlated to major function in the human body. This is dangerous and also irresponsible to do, okay? So you start ripping out things and other function starts to degrade that wasn't a problem before. And what is the most important thing to do with any potential client that needs medical help or wellness help? It's do no harm. That's what's most important, that we don't break you in the process of helping you get better. Okay. So understanding that process and how MasterPeace enters the market and answers questions I've literally been waiting for eons. Even with this product, I messaged this product's owner multiple times to do things that are happening in this product because of ground experience and seeing what I've had to manipulate and come up with in my own protocols for people so they don't experience this rigorous chelation that's not properly balanced. So when you have the source of minerals constantly trickling in as you're doing work, this what allows your body and your cells to be more happy to release the gunk and release it without violence. And that's what's really important. This is very much this is a passive insurgent, is what I like to think about this. It comes in very gently in the night, does its work, and exits the body. without banging up everything. It's almost like no one really knows it's there. Okay.
Right.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing, because that allows your body to stay cool, and it keeps your central nervous system, autonomic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system in proper alignment without causing you more undue stress.
Right.
So I'm hoping this is connecting for all of our people out here, because I don't change products just on a whim. Okay. It has to matter. And because business is business. So just changing a product in our business line, it's a major change. So to make this major change, and when Matt told me what he was doing, I was just excited. I'm just like, great, because it's been a long time coming, and there's been so many different iterations of companies doing zeolite therapeutics in the nutraceutical industry that are still kind of mimickers of others, and they haven't taken the leap to take it to the next level. And these guys jump without a parachute, man. They're all out there, raw, vulnerable, and building this thing from the ground up with the right heart and the right intention. So, Matt, thank you very, very much for doing this and assembling the team of professionals and having faith in God to go bring this to mankind. Because, folks, let's not forget about the threats. I think sometimes we just get a little bit thin on the threat. So, Matt, I want to talk about what threats in the world does MasterPeace help combat?
Awesome. Good question. So we became aware through looking at a lot of, first off, there is a 73-year-old man who's up to his eyeballs in court with the Environmental Protection Agency because he puts in private wells all across North America. And when you do a private well, you have to test the water that's going to be going in there. In 3 years' time, so from about 1940s, this guy's 73 and his dad taught him how to do this. The parts per billion would be about 50 to 150. Then it got to a point where it was like 150 to 500. But then all of a sudden in 2000 and about 19 or 20, it shot up to where his average number was 4,200. So he started doing little things to alert the people. Environmental Protection Agency told him they'd better be quiet. But I've talked with him many times. He puts in whole home reverse osmosis water systems. So we became alert of that. And then we have, consequently, pretty close to me, the biggest organic farm distributor and supplier. And the reason why that matters, this guy deals with organic farmers. And so when these people are trying to have organic farming practices, they have to test their soil every year. When you test for soil, there's things in it that are like calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium. You got exchangeable hydrogen, boron, iron, manganese, copper, zinc, and aluminum. So they test for a bunch of stuff. Well, when you have to do organic farming practices to get the levels down 1 year, and then the next year you do another test, and all of these tests, and I can't get close enough to show them to you, but what happens is some things may barely go up past where it's acceptable, and he has to barely treat the soil. But what happens with the aluminum, which is somehow appearing out of the thin blue air sky, it is per acre in the United States, at least. Now, if you're getting chemtrails where you're at, I guess you could say, are you getting more or less? I don't know. But per acre in the United States, at least on organic farm fields, you have 1,000 pounds to 2,500 pounds of aluminum per year that is appearing out of the thin blue air. So obviously, when we became aware of that, we know that obviously they're trying to help us out and block out the sun for us as a way to make us healthier, so that it will, get the temperature down to help us. So when they're doing that to help us, unfortunately, the stuff they're deciding to use is metallic, and it's so small that it takes 3 days to come down from when they spray it. So it's a thin line, it's thick, comes down. People breathe it in. These things are not metabolized by the human body. There's thousands of different types of mycotoxins and everything else, but aluminum's the big one. And aluminum, if you put in aluminum toxicity into PubMed, I believe there is like 8,000 results of aluminum toxicity.
And there's 80,000 for aluminum in general.
Okay. Wow. And there's 80,000 for aluminum in general. And so what that does is you're talking about there's a lot of linked studies that show that kids with autism, people with schizophrenia, dementia, those things, when they take brain tissue samples, they have very high levels of nanometer sized aluminum. They now even have some studies where they can see it inside the cell. That disrupts every last function of what we do. Every function that a human body does is disrupted by heavy metal toxicity. And so when we were looking at that, we thought, okay, we got to find a way to go into the deepest part of the body, get this stuff, collect it up, get it out, but then replace it, because without setting people into a terrible thing. And I did not know any of this stuff. I am not a formulator, okay? I'm a guy who had a really good inspiration and found the perfect formulator, and they use their nano lab to come up with this. But what I've learned is a lot of things. I've learned that any formula, there's two ways to get it ingested. You know how like in vaccines, they put heavy metals in there and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, they do that to like induce an immune response. And so people get their kids shot and their kid gets a real bad fever. The parents freak out and they say, oh no, it's good for their immune system. It means that it's taking it in. Okay. So it's also in the prescription pills. Why do they put heavy metals in there? There's got to be some reason other than just filler, right? Well, they say it is, and it's true. It helps the body absorb the other ingredients.
Yep.
But then it's still there and it can't get out. And so over time, you're just accumulating these heavy metals in order to take your things. Okay, yeah.
So if you didn't hear that, what Matt just said is the more medications you've been on, the longer you've been on medications, the more heavy metals you have in your body.
Period.
Period. Point blank.
Yes.
Okay. This is why every medication is toxic.
Yes.
Not just the 3/4 of them that are petrochemicals, but all of them.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is why you can't let medication off the hook, and why you have to absolutely keep driving your intention towards removing every medication from your life.
Totally.
Okay. And some of the points that he just made gets back to the whole point about daily detoxification.
Yes, yes.
Because the threats are around us 24/7. We are not escaping it. We're not living in a bubble. We breathe.
Right.
Because we breathe, we need help. Your body cannot mobilize this stuff. Every hair tissue mineral analysis I do has heavy metals on it. Period. Point blank. By the time we do your second one, we're going to see way more express in your hair, because we've got this in your body and we've got all the other therapies that we're putting in place to allow those things to release.
Yes.
Okay. So as this starts to activate and become more prevalent, it's going to grab it out, but we're still going to have evidence that it happened in your hair. And that's a good thing, that we can show that it's leaving. More in your hair is better, because at some point it's going to disappear. It won't be there anymore. All right. And if you truly understood the level of disruption that aluminum does to neurotransmission, you would absolutely change your entire outlook on this. Most people who are suffering with lots of neuroendocrine disruption, not just the mental stuff that Matt was speaking about earlier, which is also a horrible issue and a big problem, but that whole thing is connected back to the digestive tract, where those heavy metals love to hang out because the parasites are there and the parasites feed off of them. So if you're highly heavy metal, you're typically highly parasitic as well. So this is a conundrum of sorts that must be looked at with a 30,000-foot view and strategically move through. You have to strategically move through this. But if you've got this in the background, sitting there consistently, just awaiting the opportunity to attract and remove gently, right? Without pressing on your liver, without distressing your kidneys. Most chelation therapies do just that. They stress out your liver and your kidneys, okay? So if you've got weaknesses there, which most of my clients do when they show up here, they're already weak in their liver and their kidneys. They don't need any more work in that area. So this is why we subscribe to something like this. But the other piece to MasterPeace is that this is good for all humans of all age. That's a beautiful thing. Okay. Matt, I already heard stories about how you use this for your daughter, you know? And so that says a lot in itself, but please continue.
No, you're perfect. Yeah, this is definitely, it's specifically designed to get out these forever trapped chemicals that really it's hard to see that if you just take a regular heavy metal urinalysis test and stuff, because they're trapped in there. And so then all of a sudden you start taking something that's binding them and then purging them. And then all of a sudden they show up on a test and people are like, oh, there's more heavy metals. No, more heavy metals are showing up in your exit routes.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about that after we get done with the show, because I'm going to blow your mind with something that nobody understands, and you're going to love it. You're actually going to love it.
Awesome.
Seriously. So what we want to do from before we got the company launched and operating, we had to get this formula perfected. This formula it's biophoton infused, it's structured. The same lady who put Root Clean Slate on the map, her name is Carolyn Mansfield.
She's awesome. Carolyn is amazing. Google her. Go check her out on YouTube.
I would say that she is as world-renowned as a naturopath as they come. And I would say she is a true and pure humanitarian on the highest level. I have seen how she has done everything. We've become dear friends over the past year. She did originally some unprecedented analysis for Roots Clean Slate, which showed amazing results underneath dark field microscopy. Now, when you look at, she's, working with us and doing the analysis for us. And what you see with our dark field microscopy analysis at the same 1600 magnification is you see a lot more zeolite. You see these minerals in there that are gleaming and shining. You can tell they're charged, and the whole formula is structured. The big thing with the reason why MasterPeace is so effective is that when you put the drops into your mouth, just like if you do anything in your mouth, why babies take things to the mouth, you have a whole lot of different communication systems that say, oh, something's here. We got to get ready to digest it. And it's happening everywhere. There's all kinds of things. Or it's poison. I better, however it works. So when you put this formula in your mouth, your body's going, oh my gosh, this is the healthiest thing that's ever happened to us. This is the best thing ever. And then all your cells go, man, I'm just going to chill. I've been waiting for this. I can't wait for my dose. And then your cell goes like this. And then literally the zeolite comes in, and all of a sudden, something that I would have never, ever been able to find anywhere. You'll never be able to read and find this out. You have to literally talk late at night with chief lab scientists that are completely jaded for having their careers' work used against them to give you the knowledge that I'm going to give you, which is when the formula is the way MasterPeace's is, you become things like intracellular capable at particle ranges up to, instead of 100 nanometers, up to 300 nanometers, which means all of a sudden what MasterPeace is doing, which is unprecedented because it hasn't been done before in a formula, is you're getting things out that are, 120 to 250, 300. Those are a lot bigger pieces than sizes that are 50 nanometers of heavy metals. And so it's able to come in there and get those things out. And that's why people can take Clean Slate for a long time, switch over to MasterPeace, and get a new level of benefits and results. That's why it appears. That's why anybody that looks at this and compares how much zeolite, what type of zeolite, What's their formula process? What's in it? What's the testimonies? You know, any way you dice it up, how about this? The intention behind it.
Oh yeah.
I will say consciousness, I believe, is everything. Intention and intention with something is the determining factor of how it will come out. And when the whole process started, it was me trying things with all these machines and equipment and going by what we could find. And I would have Matt Senna do countless hours of research and come back to me with, we should try this now, we should try that. And he was going crazy with research and I was trying to implement it. And we were doing that. When we turned it over to the lab, it went to a whole nother level of perfection. And the whole step of the way, the one thing that stayed the same in the whole thing was that there was two guys really during the creation mode that just had the purest intention to just come up with the strongest, best thing ever for mankind. It wasn't for a company. It wasn't for anything. It was for humanity. It was because someone had to dang do it. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been waiting. Like, I'm serious. I can't say that enough. Like to be in the market and to see these products, and every now and then I reevaluate what's out on the market, to see, all right, what's the next best thing out here. It's kind of like every year when you're checking your phone bills and your insurance and all that stuff. We need to check and make sure we're still getting the best that's out there,
Right.
so we don't keep our head in the sand.
Right.
But absolutely, Alan's like, sign me up. Absolutely, brother. Your body's ready for this. You've been doing some great work already. Your body is ready for this. It's going to take you to an amazing new level for you and your wife, to be honest. So having that intention, when you start to feel the intention of a company or a formulator start to shift, and everybody out here has been on the planet long enough to know a product of any kind, whether it be in the health space or not. But typically, I've been on my wellness journey now for over 12 years. And what you don't want to see is something come out that's helping people and then it get ruined, okay, by greed, ego, or whatever. And I've seen it in multiple companies over the years, and it's distasteful, because I believe in energy, and I think that energy somehow makes it into their product, right? Because everything is frequency and energy, guys. Don't even think it's not. Where are you guys vibrating at on this thing? I know you guys already know.
If you test it as on behalf of the highest good for all of humanity as a food and nutritional supplement on the David Hawkins level of consciousness chart, we are coming in as the highest ever tested, and it comes in at about 640.
Wow. Wow. Listen, I know that might sound a little geeky to you guys out there, but let me tell you, that matters. Okay? This really, really does matter, because oftentimes we forget what we're really doing with things that we put in our body. Everything is frequency. Every food is vibrating. Everything is vibrating. We can't forget this part. It's easy to, because in this body of ours, we get locked into what we can see. Okay? And we forget to feel a lot of times. But when you can get the lens to see it, and when you can actually see yourself, I'm an old special ops guy, so I used to use thermal imagery way back in the day. So I understood how we produce our own infrared light when I was 19 years old. I understood that. I understood how we put off heat, and that heat was a frequency, and that's how this device works, picking up that information. For me to see them in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, I could pick up people who were completely camouflaged, but to me, they looked like it was broad daylight, right? And so I could put resources down range, or I could put a bullet in somebody's head. Not proud of it, but it's the facts, right? You are operating on frequency. Every one of us are light walkers in this shape. You're exuding a big aura of light all the time. So what you align with, and you guys hear me talk about alignment all the time, and what I'm really talking about with that word is frequency. Is your frequency aligned, right? When we align foods specifically to help you heal a certain thing, it's the frequency of that food, right? Because all the componentry within it, what we call nutrients, are all making that said frequency, okay? It's the culmination of all of those things that are going to lead us to a state of healing, a higher healing potentiality, is exactly what these guys have provided us. And so when we're thinking about this for ourselves, I want you to think about this seriously for everybody you know.
Yeah.
This is for humanity. This
Yes.
is for children. This is for babies who have not pooped right since they got here. Okay, I've been getting these calls and taking on these type of clients for the last 90 days. There's more and more of these babies showing up, and they've been on the planet and they can't poop, and it's a shame. And it's because they're loaded. Because you got to remember, the average umbilical cord these days is loaded with over 300 toxic chemicals. Okay, we are born dirty. We're born toxic, and we need help from the moment we get here. Because as soon as that baby gets here and starts breathing this air with aluminum in it, it's just going to exacerbate the issues even more. So we got all these issues with babies showing up here without organs and whatnot and missing digits and things now higher than ever in history. We've got babies showing up here with all types of metabolic issues very early in life, right? Babies that can't sleep. I'm seeing it all, and it's really disgusting. And all this comes back to someone trying to harm us. Okay, some entities out here don't want humans to thrive. I do. You're my people, and I want you to thrive. So I appreciate what the Matt team has been doing, along with all the cohorts that they brought in to bring their vision to life, because you are helping my family. And that's a big deal to me, because screw a multivitamin. If you've got to make a budget choice, go protect yourself and go get your vitamins from food.
That's
Okay.
right.
Food can't do what this does, unfortunately, because we're not fighting toxins. We're fighting poison. Toxins come from foods. All foods have toxins. Our body's meant to deal with those. Okay. We don't know how to deal with poison. And that's why the body holds on to it. It doesn't know how to process it at all. So we've got to fight fire with fire. Stop showing up to a gunfight with sticks. It doesn't work. I promise it's not good for your health. You're probably going to come out of that situation dead. So arm yourself appropriately. As a light walker and as your own light worker, you still need weapons in this realm, okay? Because there's things that you can't see that are operating against you at all times. Hormone problems, if you're my client, you know we've already talked about it. We know it's directly correlated to these imbalances, heavy metal toxicities that throw off the gut, and so on and so forth. It's a whole little series of things, but it's not overly complex when you really think about it. If we can absolutely remove the blockages that have been set up in us on purpose and have priority, making it a priority, not it's a secondary, tertiary thing I do because I really rather drink this green shake. This needs to be really on your top chart kind of thing, okay? Because this is a common thing that should literally be on everyone's coffee table, right? It should be one of the things that comes up in discussions when we're out socializing. How are you protecting yourself in this city, right? We literally breathe gasoline every day in traffic, right? That's toxic itself. And we've been doing it since we were kids, so we don't really take it to heart. But this stuff builds up in us. And that's why some of you have longer detox than others. You lived in cities longer than others. So you got more toxicity within you. And the thing that Matt brought up about the wells and the water, listen, I'm in the country. And so a lot of my clients, my local clients, are on farms with wells, right? And they're also being poisoned by superphosphate fertilizers all day long.
Yes.
Guess what this helps get out? It's right here. That stuff is positively charged. So it's going to be attracted to MasterPeace, and it will help it mobilize out of the body safely without a whole lot of aggravation. So what makes me happy about that is I could help somebody who even is struggling with CKD, chronic kidney disease, and someone who's struggling with cirrhosis of the liver, right? There's no threat to them with this product. There's only benefit. How many products in the world can you literally get to say that about? You just don't get to say that very often. And I know thousands of product lines, like thousands. So Matt, thank you so much for coming here and sharing what you got. Thank you for what your team has been doing. any other encouraging words you have for our folks today?
Yeah, if we can just touch for 30 seconds on one thing that we should, is that for what MasterPeace does to get out the toxicity that really does not leave your body, that does an important aspect by itself. But it's really a perfect companion product with Zen Cleanse. Zen Cleanse, what Zen Cleanse does to what I would call the macrocosm of the body, in Zeolite, when it's put together in a formula like in MasterPeace, you got something that's going to take care of the microcosm in a way that's never been done. And when you put those two together, I think that's a real good point that people, we're all trying to get to where we can manage the world, the toxic world that we're having to learn how to thrive through, and those two together, I think, are very, very critical. And, 99% of that formula right there is 96 organic, perfect ratioed minerals for what your human body should be if it was in perfect health. And it's structured, charged. It's as bioavailable as any. It is the healthiest thing you've ever put in your mouth.
And it's good, and it's also not off-putting at all with taste. It goes in very light, very easy. It's too easy, guys. Like, I'm gonna take some right now for those people who haven't done it.
But if it did taste bad, but it was still performing just the same, we would have let it stay tasting bad. It just happened to taste.
I feel you. It's got to work.
But you know what? A lot of these people, let me tell you, the number one thing in a nano zeolite formula is you start taking zeolite out because people start having these headaches and stuff, and people won't buy your product if you feel bad. But we were making decisions on what would perform better. So when we went from bee pollen to pine pollen to fulvic minerals, and we were finding better mineral ratioed product, when we got to marine plasma, which everybody can look up the regenerative properties on oceanplasma.org. Oceanplasma.org is a site where you can learn about how it's the most amazing thing, and it's been used in blood transfusions and upgrades the person right away. It's pretty much spectacular. But with 99% of the formula, you can't go wrong with it. It's only going to make every little part about your health and well-being improve to some degree. Some things you've never been able to lick and get rid of in your life, this is going to lick it and get rid of it. Some things are going to measure. But hey, if you improve in every way a little bit, isn't that priceless? And guess what? Because we're all about getting this out to mankind. That was the goal. After we launched, it was only about getting it out to mankind. So will I do a show with someone who's in a controlled opposition shill? Well, sure, because his listeners are going to put it in their mouth and it's going to help them and make the world a better place. But we made it low cost. If we were looking at how much of our formula and the effects it has, and we were pricing it just value-wise, not thinking about people, I'd price it at $180 and I could easily market it in a way where it's a lot better. But guess what? A lot of your listeners and everybody else's listeners are very, very intelligent, and they kind of forsake the whole slave system a long time ago. And so, having the most money in the world is maybe not the most important thing. They're getting their happiness in the real ways now. And so those people that don't quite have as much, we made it, it's your lowest cost option. If you're trying to find a nano zeolite out there, we're your lowest cost option and your best.
Yeah, like you really can't beat this with a stick. And I'll attest to that. One of the first zeolites I ever used is $145 a bottle.
No.
Okay, $145, and that was 7 years ago. Okay, and this far surpasses the abilities of that old formula. I moved away from it years ago because I'm like, man, we started to see some new things come to market, and now we're just at a better stage. You guys have crossed a bridge others didn't want to cross. Right?
Yeah.
And because they wanted to be a Me Too in a lot of ways. And this isn't a Me Too product. Just by the way that it's been formulated in its state is so much more better for your body overall. Okay. So when we can do better, we offer better. We even saved you some money because our old product was costing about $80. Okay. Yeah. This was going to cost you $50, which means you could buy a bottle for a friend. And
it's going to last you longer. The dose is smaller. It's going to last you longer.
You get double the benefits, half the volume, so you can extend the life of the product, and the price is $30 less.
That's right.
And listen, there's nothing cheap about this product. There's nothing cheap about it at all. This is luxury. This is where it's supposed to be. I love having wonderful products I can share with my clients that move the needle. This is absolutely going to be an amazing journey for folks that do embark on this. And for dye, yes, you do continue to take your Master Mineral Water because we're working on two different fronts. Okay, one is really about balancing out your cellular nature so that you can get proper function. And MasterPeace is more so on the detox side of things, but by having all of the minerals there, it doesn't cause any disruption with your other minerals. Okay, that's a very important thing, is that they're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. They're coming in, they're taking some things out passively, and they're leaving a whole lot behind for the body to take advantage of. So it's just better, right? And so we don't have to necessarily dismiss what we're doing for our own healing protocols for this, because that just has a separate function. But as we orchestrate all the pieces together, we know we have a comprehensive strategy for each and every one of you to thrive. And that's the ultimate part behind all the reasons that you guys are here at Newbill of Health in the first place, and why we've chosen to work together. You're trying to get to a state of thrival. Okay. We don't do survival here. You've been surviving for a very long time, and it has felt great. So by the time you get to me, you're no longer patient. So we don't call you patients, we call you clients, right? And we want to use tools that are going to help you move the needle swiftly so that you can get into a momentous state of opportunity of healing. But your body loves momentum. It is the first value, and there's 3 values in my company, and the first value is momentum. Because of my own personal health journey and all my struggles throughout my life with body weight and being sick and not focusing on my health and the issues that I've had, I was always looking for that quick fix, and that doesn't really go away from Americans. Everything's instant and getting faster and faster and faster. And I've always felt this in my heart. Why can't I get well fast? Why not? Why shouldn't I be able to? Okay. And we're able to do it faster and faster. And yes, with Zen Cleanse, is that the metal cleanse? No, Zen Cleanse. Yes, so Zen Cleanse is your actual gut detoxifying cleanse, liver cleanse, blood and lymph, lung cleanse, gallbladder, stone removal system. Okay. And Sue, it's about time for us to get you on your cleanse. And Matt, we are standardized here on cleansing. Okay. It's literally the first thing we ask all of our clients to do.
Yeah.
It's where we need to start, because then we can get a lot of things out of the way and then start diving deeper. But when we get those things out of the way, it's a way better picture for our clients. All their supplementation works better. All their foods absorb better. They feel better faster, which allows them to have better compliance on their regimens to go the distance. Okay. It's all about compliance and going the distance to get your healing opportunity delivered. And so if you're getting a product line that allows you to do that with more ease, less Herxheimer reactions, I just got to find a way to put this in Zen Cleanse. I'm just kidding. But it's a beautiful, Matt nailed it. We're on the same vibration. He didn't even know that about us here at Newbill of Health, but we're standardized on it. All of you guys know of it. So Matt, you've done a great job for us today. Thank you for sharing your time. Time is money. Time is, you can be with your family. So I appreciate you spending it with us and my people here at Newbill of Health. And we're going to continue to spread the message out, because the people that come here, these aren't quiet people. Okay. These are the kind of people that want to get their wellness right. And they have made a promise with me. All of my clients, as they heal, have made a promise to become a beacon of hope for other people. They have to share their story with other people to let them know it's real, that there's options out here, that there's other ways to get healing, and it's not at your local hospital or in the average allopathic doctor's office with their tool sets that are killing us day by day by day. So,
Can I make 2 quick points,
yes,
Ken,
sir.
just before we shut down?
Yes, sir.
When you take MasterPeace, don't do it within 10 minutes of eating food or so. Get everything out of your mouth because you want your programming system to, get back to clear mode so that when you put the drops in your mouth, your body immediately goes into this whole state where it becomes allowable to really soak up a big portion of where the size of the zeolite is. So take it by itself. Don't put it with other things in your mouth and whatnot. The other things, what we're really noticing across the board for people who are on prescription medication, we're not doctors. I would never, ever tell anybody, go, obviously. But this is what I will see is what we're witnessing. No matter what type of medication that they're on, blood pressure, the whole gauntlet of medicine, when they start feeling better and they're just operating better and everything, it seems like these people are getting to the point where they say, why am I even taking this? Or why am I even taking that? And so they don't have to worry about making any life changes. They can still wake up when they want to wake up, eat whatever they're going to decide that they're going to eat, do everything the same. All you need to do is get 6 drops underneath your tongue and leave them there as long as you can by themselves twice a day. And that's all you got to do. And, when you get to the point where everything about you is operating better and you feel better and you decide you want to make those changes, then that'll be awesome. I will tell you, people that are showing up at the doctor's office that are getting their lab work done, what we're seeing straight across the board is everything about their labs improves, and the doctors so far have seemed to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. That's what we want. We talk a lot about medication removal here and helping people move through that process. It's a big part of my mission on a daily basis is to help people get off of petrochemicals and pharmaceuticals and get their bodies to a healed state so it can stand up on its own and take care of itself without their tools.
that's right.
Sue Brennan, all you need to do, anyone who's looking to get this into their arsenal, all you need to do is message our girl. Okay, message our girl, message client support, and they will take care of you. Okay. Let me see. We do have another member. She didn't make it today, but I will be asking her in our forum to share her story with you. Patty Gaffer, some of you may know her as Patricia. We both kind of started a trial around the same time. And so she's got some experiences she can share with you that I think would be very beneficial for you to hear. So I'll ask her to do that. But for anybody who's looking to get this going right away, just reach out to client support and they will handle everything for you from there. All right. So appreciate everyone for joining today. We're going to get moving and get everybody back on with their life. Matt, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Godspeed. Keep doing the good work. Watch your back. Okay. We're the real wellness warriors, so we know what's up. And thanks again. And tell my other brother, thank you so much too. I love you both.
Yes. And thank you for what you do for everybody, Ken. Seriously. I just want to tell you as a brother, thank you so much for that.
You got it.
With the right heart, and that's what counts.
Absolutely. Y'all take care.
Awesome, brother. Ciao, everybody.